The first rule of diplomacy with the XYRH Dominion was simple. Never touch the Queen. Ambassador Elias Trent knew this rule well. Every human assigned to first contact memorized it before even stepping onto the diplomatic carrier Aquila. The XYRH were not merely alien. They were ancient, vast, and terrifyingly powerful. Their empire spanned star systems older than humanity's earliest cave paintings. They were ruled by a single monarch, the Queen of Carapaces, sovereign of the endless hive. No one had ever touched her, not in reverence, not in greeting, not by accident. The penalty was annihilation. And yet Elias Trent was about to break that rule. The grand hall of Chiton stretched like a cathedral carved from the inside of a mountain. Its ceiling rippled with living bioluminescence. Towers of amber resin rose in curling spirals, and in the center, on a dais grown from bone-white stone, sat the Queen. She was colossal. Her body resembled an armored mantis fused with a throne of living exoskeleton. Plates of obsidian-black armor overlapped like blade-edge scales. Her eyes were vast, multifaceted, glowing molten gold. Antennae arched above her crown like twin spears pointed at heaven. Around her stood the royal guard, 8 towering warriors encased in organic armor, limbs ending in scythe-like blades. Behind them, translators clicked and pulsed softly, converting phenomenal language into synthetic speech. Elias took a slow breath. His diplomatic team stood behind him, pale and stiff in their formal uniforms. Every step he took toward the Queen felt like walking toward a cliff's edge. Ambassador Elias Trent, the translator intoned, its voice like metal rubbing glass. You stand before the sovereign Queen Zyrakai. State your purpose. Elias bowed, careful not to lower his eyes too much. XYRH considered full downcast gaze a sign of deception. Great Queen, he said, voice steady, humanity seeks peaceful coexistence. We come not as conquerors, but as equals among the stars. A low rumble passed through the hall. The Queen's mandibles shifted, clicking in amusement. Equals, the translator echoed. Your species arrived in the galactic sphere 2 centuries ago. You possess fragile flesh, short lives, and technology that stumbles like a newborn crawler. Why should the Dominion acknowledge you? The question was expected. The contempt was not. Elias swallowed. Because we endure. Because we adapt. Because we refuse to kneel. The guards tightened their grip on their weapons. One wrong word, and this hall would become a slaughterhouse. The Queen's gaze bored into Elias. Something about her presence pressed on his mind like deep ocean pressure. Many diplomats had fainted here. A few had lost sanity. No one had dared defiance. And yet Elias stood firm. The Queen's antennae flickered. Your courage borders on arrogance. Perhaps, Elias said. But humanity survives by daring the impossible. The Queen clicked softly. A gesture. Amusement again. Then prove it, she said. Touch the armor of sovereignty. Silence fell. Elias blinked. Surely he misheard. The translator repeated. The Queen invites the human to touch her royal armor. Gasps rippled behind Elias. His aide whispered, Sir, it's forbidden. Elias raised a hand. If this was a test, refusing meant humiliation. Accepting meant death. But diplomacy was war fought with words and nerve. He stepped forward. Each footstep echoed too loud. Too final. The Queen remained motionless, towering above him. Her armor gleamed like volcanic glass. No being had ever touched it except royal attendants bred for that sacred purpose. Elias lifted his hand. For the first time in millennia, the Queen of the XYRH waited to be touched by an outsider. His fingers brushed the armor. Cold. Smooth. alive. And then, a shock surged through him. Images exploded in his mind. Not visions of conquest or pride, but loneliness. An endless void. A child emerging from an egg chamber. A swarm bowing. A throne grown around her body. Ages passing. Wars fought. Systems conquered. Worship without companionship. Fear without love. Eternity without equal. Elias gasped, stumbling back. The guards roared in alarm, weapons raised. The queen trembled. Her antennae quivered. Her eyes widened. For the first time, the sovereign looked shaken. "What did you do?" the translator hissed. Elias fell to one knee, heart pounding. I didn't do anything. I just touched." "You saw," the queen whispered. Her voice bypassed the translator, resonating directly in his mind. "You saw me." Elias stared up. Behind the monstrous majesty was not a god, not a tyrant, but a being unbearably alone. The queen's voice continued, soft and raw. "No mind has ever touched mine. No creature has endured contact with my memory. They break. They burn. But you, human, you endured." Elias struggled to breathe. "Because humans share pain. We survive it." The guards hesitated, unsure whether to strike or kneel. The queen lowered her massive head until her glowing eyes filled Elias's vision. "What are you?" she asked. Elias met her gaze. "Human." Silence stretched. Then the queen rose, towering fully upright. Resin cracked. Dust drifted from ancient surfaces. Her voice boomed through the hall. "Withdraw your weapons." The guards obeyed instantly. "Attend," the queen declared. "The human has touched the sovereign armor and lives. The human has seen the queen's heart and did not perish. This changes all." Whispers rippled through the chamber. Elias slowly stood. "What happens now?" he asked. The queen regarded him. For ages, the Dominion believed itself supreme. Unquestioned, unchallenged, untouched. But now a species exists that can endure my mind, that can share burden without breaking. She stepped down from the dais. Each movement shook the hall. Her towering form stopped before Elias. She lowered one side-like limb, not in threat, but offering. "Touch again," she said. "Not as test, as choice." Elias hesitated. This time, he understood what the touch meant. Not just contact. Connection. He placed his hand against the armor once more. Warmth spread through him. The queen's thoughts opened, but gently now. Like a door, not a storm. He shared images of Earth. Children laughing. Lovers embracing. Soldiers standing together. Strangers helping one another after disasters. Families around dinner tables. Mourning. Celebration. Imperfect, chaotic, but never alone. The queen absorbed it all. When Elias withdrew his hand, her glowing eyes shimmered with something new. Wonder. "So fragile," she whispered, "and yet so united." Elias exhaled. "We survive together. That's our strength." The queen turned toward her court. "Let it be declared," she said. "Humanity shall not be conquered. Humanity shall not be absorbed. Humanity shall be welcomed as kin of spirit." Shock tore through the hall. Advisors chittered wildly. Guards shifted uneasily. One counselor stepped forward. "Great Queen, this defies Dominion law." The queen's gaze snapped toward him. "Then Dominion law evolves." No one argued further. She turned back to Elias. "You have given me something I did not know I lacked," she said quietly. "Connection. Understanding. I have ruled trillions, yet never touched another mind without destruction. Until you." Elias rubbed his wrist, still tingling. "Guess we're hard to break." A faint clicking laugh echoed. So I have learned. Hours later, in a chamber grown for guests, Elias sat alone, staring at his hand. The door pulsed open. The queen entered. Not with guards, not with grandeur. Just her massive, gleaming presence filling the room. Ambassador, she said, voice softer than thunder, I wish to learn more of humanity. Elias smiled faintly. We've got a lot to show you. She lowered herself beside him, careful not to crush the floor. For the first time, she admitted, I do not feel alone. Elias glanced at the towering alien queen, the terror of galaxies, the sovereign of endless hive worlds. And he realized something profound. Humanity's greatest weapon had never been ships, guns, or technology. It had been the simple ability to reach out and touch another soul. The treaty chamber aboard the Aquila had never been so silent. Human officers sat stiff-backed along one side of the crescent table. Across from them, XYRH emissaries towered in their organic armor, their translator nodes pulsing softly. At the head of the chamber, the holographic projection of Queen Zyra Kai loomed like a living mountain of obsidian light. Elias stood in the center. It had been 3 days since the touch. 3 days since the Queen of the Dominion had ordered the impossible. Peace. Now, the galaxy watched. Every human colony, every Dominion hive world, every neutral empire that had waited in terror for either war or annihilation. Elias cleared his throat. Great Queen, representatives of humanity, we are here to formalize what began in the Grand Hall of Chiton. An accord between species. An end to fear. The Queen's projection inclined its massive head. The Dominion acknowledges, she said, that humanity possesses resilience beyond physical measure. You endured my mind. You shared your own. No species has done this. Therefore, you are not prey. You are not threat. You are counterpart. Murmurs spread through the human delegation. Counterpart. Equal. Not subject. Not enemy. Admiral Reyes leaned toward Elias. Sir, she whispered, do you realize what this means? The Dominion has never signed a treaty. Ever. Elias nodded, but his eyes never left the Queen. I only touched her armor, he whispered back. She touched everything we are. A XYRH counselor clicked forward. Terms, it demanded. Humanity will share knowledge of empathic resilience. The Dominion will cease expansion into human claim systems. Mutual defense against external threats. Elias looked to the Queen's projection. Agreed, she said. The treaty drones recorded the moment. Signals flashed across light years. News feeds ignited. Markets shook. Fleets changed course. A war that had seemed inevitable dissolved in a single shared heartbeat. Later, Elias stood alone in the observation dome, gazing at the slow curve of Earth hanging in the void. He flexed his hand, the same hand that had touched the armor, the same hand that had reached into the heart of a galactic monarch and returned alive. The door opened behind him. A familiar presence filled the room, not physically, but mentally. Warm, vast, gentle. Elias. Her voice came directly into his thoughts now, no translator needed. He didn't startle anymore. Great Queen, he answered silently. Not Great Queen, she corrected softly. Zyra. Among minds, I am simply Zyra. He smiled. All right then. Zyra. A pause. Then curiosity. Will you teach me? She asked. This togetherness of yours. This sharing of burden. This strange human strength. Elias looked back at Earth. Billions of fragile beings arguing, loving, struggling, forgiving. It's messy, he said. But it works. We'll teach you. And you'll teach us too. A sound like distant chimes resonated through his skull, the Queen's laughter. Then the galaxy changes today, human, because one species finally touched another and did not destroy it. Elias rested his palm against the glass. Yeah, turns out that's our superpower. Not weapons, not fleets, not conquest, just the courage to reach out and the strength to survive what we find. Final line. In a galaxy ruled by armor and fear, humanity's greatest weapon was never its firepower, it was its heart.